The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine?
You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask the Treksperts. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
Today we're going to talk about Romulans. We're going to talk about where the Romulans started and where they eventually wound up. Spotlight on the Romulans. So, I'd say that's probably one of the big main species that didn't change very much.
Yeah, surprisingly. And they were in everything from TOS all the way up through the new movie.
Yeah.
And, I mean, compared to other main races such as, say, the Klingons
Especially
or Vulcans or, you know, any of those others.
Klingons got a complete overhaul. And I'm not just talking surgical.
No, but for the better, really, I think. Although the TOS Klingons were cool in their own way.
In their own way, yeah, but you look at the Romulans, and I mean, even their costuming didn't change all that much.
No,
if you think
really.
about it, I mean, you can see, I can kind of buy the progression between 23rd century Romulan uniforms and 24th. I mean,
yeah, I mean they certainly changed, but
sure,
but it's not like they had a complete, you know, fashion style.
Once again, like the Klingons, it wasn't chainmail transforms into the big giant bodysuit. You know,
yeah.
I mean, they still they were still very uniform. I mean, they had a certain style. So the Romulans in TOS, we only saw them a couple times.
Yeah, yeah, and every time we saw them, they were awesome, and
I think
you wanting more.
Those are both two of the original series' best episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're and just like they always were later, the Romulans are mysterious. They're conniving. They're manipulative.
Yeah, especially mysterious and honorable in their own way. Especially
sure, absolutely.
Mark Leonard, the Romulan commander. I mean, he was just played an awesome role, and he and Kirk played off so well in that episode. That was great.
Interesting side note, both of the Romulans in original series, well, frankly, I can't remember if there are more than those two, but as far as the big Romulan-centered episodes,
yeah.
Both of them were called the Romulan Commander. Neither of them, I don't know if you remember that,
Yeah.
neither of them had an actual name, so you had the female one, and you had Mark Leonard playing the and frankly, I actually like Enterprise Incident a little bit better than that episode.
Well, it has
They're
more
both
of a...
pretty good.
It has more of a plot. I mean, the first one is just, you know, they're flying around, they're kind of, it's like they're playing chess with each other, and it's more of a personality versus personality, and they each have their own motives.
Well, and talking about how mysterious they were, I mean, what was neat about that episode is that was where everybody learns that the Romulans are cousins with the Vulcans.
Yeah.
And it was this very dun-dun-dun kind of moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely cool.
And very unusual for original series to do something that like surprising for the canon. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't just for that episode. That was just kind of a big deal kind of moment.
Yeah, it's like
maybe more so
like
to those of us later on who knew them.
Yeah.
You know, but and the Enterprise Incident I always said was the episode in the original series that feels the most like a Next Gen episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And then the Romulans in Next Gen are great.
Oh yeah, and continued to be really mysterious, and I really liked how they played them up in Neutral Zone. Not that Neutral Zone itself is that great of an episode, but the Romulan parts of it are.
Yeah.
The B story in that is irritating.
And I always like when they give the Romulans the really good dialogue.
Oh yeah,
where,
absolutely.
You know, they're saying one thing, and you know that they mean another thing, and it's just, especially playing off Picard. I mean, that's diplomacy at its coolest.
What I was going to say about Neutral Zone is we find out there that there hasn't really been any contact with the Romulans at all, like really since TOS.
Yeah.
And I like that they did that because once again it kind of kept them in the dark a little bit. And then there are a lot of Romulan episodes of Next Generation, but they never made it seem normal.
Yeah.
It was always, oh crap, Romulans.
Well, and even when we went to their planet in Unification, we didn't really learn all that much about their culture.
And I love that. We went there and we still didn't know, we still were not sure about them.
Yeah. I mean, we
Very
saw,
cool.
you know, they had some really cool small things about, you know, everyone really is scared of the Tal Shiar and, you know, little cultural things like that, but...
Now, I will say that Next Generation could have done more with them. It could have gone farther, and I wish that it had. In fact, Unification was supposed to have gone farther with it. They were supposed to get closer to actually reunifying the Romulans and the Vulcans, and that was, and I've told you this before, but I mean that was supposed to be a 5-parter, and they just didn't have the capital for it that season, I guess, is what happened. anyway, so then they kept doing these kind of mysterious episodes with the Romulans where we wind up in the neutral zone, and then we had to have one of those discussions like you were talking about with Picard and another one. And who was the Romulan? It was Pegasus, wasn't it? That we watched in club like a week or two ago with that really awesome exchange, a couple of exchanges with Picard in that Romulan where they're like you said, they're saying one thing and meaning another, and where they're acting all diplomatic, and then Picard turns off the view screen and knows he's about to get fired on.
Yeah,
I mean that's
tensions are high.
Tensions are high. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's when they're at their best. Yeah. Really, and so. But throughout TNG, we never really came to any kind of a crossroads with the Romulans. They kind of stayed a bit of a status quo, and it was okay because it was sort of like they never had the right moment to really attack and take over. Because of course the Romulans are basically Romans, and they have an empire, and they want to, and eventually they want to take over the Federation, but they're going to do it. They're going to do it on their terms, and they're going to do it in the easiest way they can come up with to do it. Sure. And so then by DS9 Dominion War, they're not going to do it now. Yeah. And I really liked how the Romulans were handled there. Sure.
And I liked how we went back and forth with, are they our allies? Are they not our allies? They've been enemies for a long time. They've been standoffish for so long. I thought that was good, and especially the one where. That Cisco-centered episode in the Pale Moonlight. Yeah, right. With Senator Vrenak. That's good stuff.
That's most certainly the best Romulan episode done in DS9. But there are a couple.
Oh, sure.
And then Voyager did them a couple times, but it was just, since they're in the Delta Quadrant, anytime they did a species like that, it was sort of
just a nod to. We're still Star Trek.
But Eye of the Needle was cool. Yeah. And do you remember that?
I only saw it once.
The micro wormhole, and then we find out that and it's neat because it's this Romulan that actually wants to help them, and then we discover he's 20 years in the past and can't do anything, and it's neat stuff. So real quick, I think that first of all, the Romulans should have been center stage in a film earlier than they were. I always thought that. I always thought that the Romulans would have made for a really interesting political intrigue type story in a film,
as opposed to an action type.
And that would allow a film to be more like a Star Trek episode. The Romulans are the species you'd want in a next-gen film, and I would say that as bad as Nemesis is, in my opinion, the Romulans were the one thing that were done right in that, and they just didn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, just didn't get enough. But the parts that we got with the Romulans were cool. I didn't like the Ravens.
No, I didn't either, and I didn't think that idea. They weren't
developed. They were very two-dimensional, and they just didn't make sense. But the Romulans were cool.
Yeah, I mean,
especially that one Romulan commander that was in there, who ended up coming to the side of the help of the Enterprise.
Yeah, well, that was the one place where it felt like it was trying to push forward a little bit. Insurrection seemed completely superfluous, and First Contact wasn't, because it ended up doing a lot in series. Series kept calling back to it, but Nemesis. The one thing that it did was push forward the idea of the Romulans possibly becoming allies with the Federation, and the problem with that is they knew it was the last movie, and they knew there probably wouldn't be any more 24th century stuff, so it was a bad idea to do it there.
Yeah, certainly.
And then the new film did Romulans, but they weren't really Romulans.
No, I don't know why they felt they had to go so far and change them so much without explanation. I mean, I know they had little comic book thing.
Right, and once again, that's not canon, so it doesn't entirely count because there's no explanation in the film of why they have the tattoos and all that kind of stuff. Now the thing is, they're minors.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have the uniform, certainly.
And they might be different than Romulans we've seen before because after all, most of the Romulans we've seen before have been in the Guard or something. Yeah. But at the same time, we needed more of an explanation as to why they were so different.
Yeah, I agree. And they weren't diplomatic at all. I mean, they didn't seem Romulan. They just seemed to be wanting to go fight things. It was just so two-dimensional.
Yeah, I wanted them to be. I was excited that they were doing the Romulans again because I thought it would give them another shot to do it right.
But the Romulans are cool in general. But
and then Enterprise, I actually kind of liked the
I liked how they managed to keep the crew of the Enterprise from actually seeing what they looked like and knowing that, oh, the Romulans are behind this.
I liked it too.
I liked how background they made it, but unlike the Ferengi episode, but yeah.
Minefield isn't great, but what they did in 4th season was pretty cool.
Yeah, 4th season was what I was thinking of.
Yeah, with manipulating the Andorians and all that. It's really neat stuff.
Yeah, because they were doing with the Aenar basically what they did with Geordi a couple times.
Yeah, in fact, that's true. That is a nice consistency. Well, we're all out of time. Thanks a lot for watching Ask the Treksperts. We'll come back with you next week with another interesting topic for discussion. If you have anything you'd like us to discuss or an episode you'd like us to review, I think we're going to review an episode next time.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do, what were we talking about?
I think we were doing elementary due data.
Right. So we'll do that for you next time, and thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
See you next time.